Hello, everybody, and welcome to the German King live stream. My name is Ade Tokumo McCormack. I'm the creator of the series, and I'm joined by.
Hi, I'm Chris Freeman. I'm the producer of the series, German King, and we're so happy to be here. And we're so happy that you tuned in with us because we have so many amazing updates to give to all of you about the show.
So many amazing updates. Now, as you guys know, the German King is the extraordinary story of King Rudolf Douala Manga Bell. He's a Cameroon-born, German-raised prince who became king and fought back against German imperialism leading up to the First World War. It's an epic true story, a story about heroism and bravery, and we cannot wait to tell this story. So yeah, as Chris said, we've got a ton of exciting updates. It's been a while since you guys have last seen us, and that's because so many things have been going on. We successfully completed an incredible crowdfund, and we raised enough for us to actually officially go into pre-production. And so that's what we're doing right now. And yes. And this is all because of you. And thank you so much for your generous support, your investments, sharing our live streams, sharing our posts, sharing all the information about the German King. And it's because of you we are here and officially about to go into production. Now, so a couple updates about that. Chris Freeman, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Oh my gosh. So Ade and I spent quite a bit of the last 2 months um, uh, going all over Kenya, scouting amazing locations, literally earth-shaking locations, and
Literally.
things that these places are. Ade keeps telling everybody when we meet with lots of creative folks for department heads and other things
Yeah.
that Kenya is like little Africa. It's one of these places in Africa that you can find the beautiful coast. You can find mountains. You can find a lake. You can find a desert. You can find,
Snow.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything you would need to. And so it's such a wonderful place to shoot. And we found out that everybody's saying that they are indeed accurate. And so we are I'm set actually to leave for London tomorrow.
It begins. It begins.
Yeah, we're going. We're
Yeah.
going. And then onto Munich and to shoot some footage from where Rudolph, our hero, where he spent his time in Germany, and in Ulm and Aalen, and so we're so stoked about that. And then we're off to Nairobi to literally get all of the plans in place so that we can shoot in the spring. And we couldn't do it without all of you, and we're so stoked about it, and we're so excited to share footage from the scout. And also we have a lot of like creative on the development side of the show, and that we're just a lot of really amazing things that are coming together that we're going to be able to share. So yeah.
And please, if you guys want to stay updated on what we're doing, please click on the link below to sign up for our live stream. And also there'll be a QR code that's going to come up pretty soon. Make sure you scan that QR code and then sign up for the updates, and we'll just keep you informed about what we're doing, all the exciting developments about the German King series. So as you know, we're rapidly moving forward. We're going to be shooting in the spring. Chris, can we say what date we're planning on shooting? Because that's something we could reveal yet?
I don't think it's wise to say
Okay. It's coming. Okay.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. All we'll say is stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah, for sure.
And so when you sign up for the updates, we'll be telling you about our casting director that we're going to attach. So I'm going to have some open calls. So if you are interested in auditioning for the German King, you might be able to audition for it, or maybe come on board as a crew member, production assistant, what have you. So it's open to the public, and we really want as many talented individuals on board as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing. I mean, it's kind of a segue into so many different parts of the live stream. But one of the things about being in Kenya is, we went to these exotic locations like Hell's Kitchen, which is essentially the Kenyan Grand. The way the Americans look at the Grand Canyon, this is that. But a very unique experience, right?
Absolutely. So we arrived at sunset, which apparently is the best time to come, and it was like all these thousands of different colors, like Joseph, the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It was just dazzling.
It's true.
Right? And you're watching the sun setting, and you're like, wow. I mean, it was just like, it was paradise on earth.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's so amazing about it is the location itself is so beautiful, but then what we found in Kenya, and you can see from some of the photos and some of the footage that we're sharing, what we found is that there are places that literally to us feel lost in time. And
Yes,
it's
yes,
like they're not lost in time. They've been there. They just haven't had as many people. It hasn't changed, you know.
yes.
And so
Oh yeah, there's a
one of the
picture.
amazing things that we've been experiencing, just again throughout Kenya, we went to all these deep corners of it, and also saw amazing Nairobi and Mombasa, like major cities. And people were welcoming to us. They're so excited about us shooting there, and we're excited, and we're all kind of like honored to be doing it together. That's certainly one part of it. But we saw these animals as well. Like we saw, and I know that sounds like how we are going to feature some of them in the series was revealed to us as
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
as we, went across deserts and lakes and,
And
and
lakes,
the Indian
yes.
Ocean, and went to islands and so it was really saw waterfalls. We saw
Beautiful
all this
waterfalls.
crazy stuff.
Oh, it was just
It was
stunning.
really amazing. And I will say one thing.
Yeah.
So I really did find out that Ade is younger than I am, and that the other the other guys
I
working on
am.
it. There was like a point in the scouts when I was like, I'm not gonna go down to the bottom of the waterfall with you guys. You
it
guys,
was it
I
was
will film
brutal.
the wide shot. I will stay up high, and
Well,
I will film all of you going down. Yeah.
well,
So
Chris, that
anyway,
was
it
also
was
a really difficult day. So, I mean, we were trying to really find the most authentic locations in Kenya because we're like, if we're going to tell a story about, the scramble for Africa, that when a lot of these foreigners first came in contact with the Africans and what they endured, the English explorers and the German explorers, so we were like, let's go into a really dense, intense forest, and I won't,
and we did,
and we did.
and
There may have been a
it was
couple of
the
times I was like,
experience of a
a
lifetime.
lifetime. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And of course, me being the actor, I was like, feel it, understand and what this is and how it feels, because this is how the explorers
okay,
felt 100
so
years ago.
yeah, so Ade, which just infuriated me, was like, "Isn't this amazing? We should feel what they felt like when.
Yeah.
Can't you imagine when the Germans arrived? They didn't know what, or they just
Yes.
like you feel." And I'm like, I am going to collapse. I could not walk any
Yeah.
further in the forest.
It was like
It
a
was
6 hour
amazing.
trek.
No,
But it was amazing. It was truly, truly
it was
incredible.
so amazing. Yeah, it
Yes.
was so good for me too. I mean, again, I think it's one of these things that this is going to transcend the experience of making the show, and how powerful we feel the story is, and to share it with the world, and put as many resources and effort and love into it that we're doing. What's also just kind of amazing is literally going to Kenya to make this with the crew and the people we're bringing from America, and which
Yes.
isn't a lot, and we're shooting with a lot of Kenyans and a lot of people local to Africa. It's like that's an experience within itself.
Yes.
It's like cultures coming together, and it's just amazing. And we just feel so blessed to be doing this.
Truly, truly, truly blessed. So yeah, I mean, for the last couple of months, we have been traveling literally across the globe. In fact, it all started off when we were invited to the Pan African Film Festival in Cannes, and what was incredible about that moment was His Majesty King Johnny and all the Sawa Douala kings came too. And so as they were arriving, it was so grand. I mean, the pomp and the circumstance,
It was
which
amazing.
you never really see from Africans, but it was just these bells were ringing, the royal family came through. I mean, it was some people were like to see the French faces who were like, who are these kings? They were
Yeah, who are
so
these
impressed.
people?
Right, right. And they just walked down the street and you had, they were all in their beautiful, stunning sanjan outfits and necklaces. And I was in that moment watching our kings walk down that aisle. I was like, I felt so proud to be African, down that red carpet. I was like, wow, this is what the world is going to see in the German King series. We're going to see our kings, our queens. We're not going to see those negative, stereotypical roles that we typically see in film and television. We're going to see people who are heroic, people who are empowered, people who are dignified. And I'm just so thrilled to be able to represent that story in the German King.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll take my takeaway from it again, Ade. What you said was just it was all senses at once. It was like
Yes,
seeing this
yes,
amazing pageantry that's coming down the road where normally,
yes.
cars are, and it's
Right, right,
completely
right.
closed down
Traffic
with,
stopped. Right, right, right. Because the
yeah,
kings had
and
arrived.
all pomp
Yeah.
and circumstance, and then also the auditory, the drums.
The
Like when they were playing,
drums.
it
Ooh.
was
Yeah.
just a super cool, really amazing moment to be a part of,
Yes.
and
Oh, that's His
everybody
Majesty
who
the
was there with
King.
us was blown away.
And
Yeah.
guys, I have to tell you, I've screened The German King dozens of times, and we were Oscar qualified. I screened a Cannes. I mean, it was won a bunch of awards. I have never been more nervous than screening The German King for His Majesty King Jean-Yves and Bubu Douala. I was terrified because if the king doesn't like it, then you're finished, But then I looked at him, you know what I mean? But I looked at him and he cracked a smile and he didn't stop smiling. And he was so proud. And I just melted because honestly, it's just to do this great man's story justice is all I ever wanted. And to have the royal family be proud of me was the other thing I wanted. And so it was a beautiful moment. And there we are on the red carpet with His Majesty King Jean-Yves and Bubu Douala Bell, and just to have him be so proud. And in addition to that, he was like, "Ade, you must come to the palace. We can discuss this story some more." And I said, "Okay." So I'm actually here in Cameroon, and I thought, what better place to just announce production on the German King series than where it all began, the birthplace of His Majesty King Rudolph Douala Bell.
Yeah, and Ade, it's so amazing because I don't want to miss this opportunity. We won, so
Oh yes, yes.
the
Oh yeah,
short won.
that
There were a
too. Yeah,
couple,
yeah, yeah. So
we
you're right.
obviously
So
shared a
we
couple
won.
pictures
Yes,
of the
yeah.
award,
We
and
won the DiCarlo Peace Prize.
yeah, but even
Which
like
was
I
such an
said, and
honor.
like I sent out a little bit of a summary, that we're going to share with folks and different things. And one of them was just like, look, we were so excited to get the award, but we were already scouting in Kenya when
Yeah, yes.
they got the call. Like it looks like an old school phone, like the old
Yeah.
horn. He got a call on the horn, and he was like, "What?" And he was like, "We won!" And
As
we're
we won,
literally like
we won.
lions wandering
Lions,
around us around
literally
the
lions
show.
all around us. Plus we
Yeah,
won.
it was amazing. It
And
was so
then you
cool.
barely get reception. So you're like, hello? It was one what? With the award? Oh, great.
Hello.
It was amazing. But there's the award right there that I hope to pick up before I come back to Kenya. But yes, it was a great honor. So thank you to the Pan African Film Festival in Cannes. We really appreciate it. It is a tremendous, tremendous honor.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a little bit, Ade, why don't you share from your perspective what it was like, the Kenyan Scout, not just the locations, but like the production team we're working with these amazing people there, some of the younger people, which we're going to get to later, but also from you returning, right? Because
Yes,
I
yes.
don't even know your story until we're there in Nairobi, and I'm like, oh, he used to live right there on this street?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
so why don't you share that?
So, as many of you don't, or maybe you don't know, so I was born in Sierra Leone, but raised mostly in Kenya. And I attended a private English school, and I lived in Kenya until I was 17, and then I left for the United States, and I didn't come back for 20 something years. Because I'm only 25, just kidding. But, but But the first person or the lady who cast me in my first film, The Great Elephant Escape, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Julian Sands, the late Leo Burmester, she was also working on the production, and I've kept in touch with her for several years. And when it came to shooting The German King, I said, well, where are we going to film this series? And so now, mind you, we are planning on shooting some of it in Cameroon, but because of logistics and because of other reasons, we'll be filming the bulk of the TV series in Kenya, and we'll share the second location soon. That's I don't want to give it away just yet, but we were looking for a place that was also called. Now, Cameroon is called African Miniature, which means you can find every kind of climate landscape in this one beautiful country. I mean, it is honestly one of the most spectacular countries I've ever been to in my entire life. From the Kulkam, the waterfalls, the twin lakes, to the incredible palaces, to it's absolutely stunning. But I was like, well, what other country is an African in miniature? And Kenya is. And so I was like, and I was trying to think where else we could shoot. And it just, honestly, the opportunity presented itself. And I reached out to Jenny Pont, who's the lady I worked on my first film. And she said, come home. It's time to come home and shoot this here, because there's nowhere else on this planet that will give you the landscape, that will give you the people who have that work ethic, that will give you everything that you need to make this show the success that it deserves to be. And she gave me the most incredible pitch. And here I am, 30 years later, I came down. So that's why we did this location scout. And what was amazing, having been away for almost, 20 or so years, to see Kenya with fresh eyes and to see it now as an adult and as a man and see where we could have the palaces of Rudolph Duwala Manga Bell, where we could have things like the Ngondo Festival. I don't want to give too much away, but it's just every single day we saw a new set. Now, mind you, I grew up in Kenya, and isn't it how it always goes? When you live in a country, you never go, you take everything for granted. So I didn't really travel much. I stayed in the capital. I was very comfortable with where I was. But we traveled to all these places, and I was just like, I'm like, look at God's majesty, because there is an amazing being, an incredible being that created this that we see, that we appreciate, that we love, that's taking my breath away every single day. And I have a greater appreciation for who I am, my culture, where I grew up, and the people. So Pontact has officially come on board, and they'll be our local production coordinators, and they worked on incredible shows like Out of Africa, starring Meryl Streep, Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I mean, I could go on. They're going to do Africa, which was the film that won the best foreign language film, the Oscars. So we've got people who won Oscars working on our show. We're in the best of hands, and we could not be happier.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Man, you couldn't have said it any better all day. Like the level of professionals that we have and how talented they are, and then also knowing a few of the very choice and select professionals we're bringing from America and and Hollywood, and folks we've either worked with or people we've wanted to work with. That
Yes.
day, and I've been like, oh, if only one day they do something with us. Now is the time we're asking. So anyway, so we've been able to. It's been really amazing, and I don't usually share a lot of stuff on social media, but I did share something recently where I just said it's really amazing when you look up and you're working with amazing human beings, not just people good at what they do, but from me personally working with Ade, working with the folks that we are in Kenya now, working with Angel. It's just great to actually be the people you see on every day and on screens now that we're in all different countries for a little while, where the band's getting back together in about a couple weeks. But it's really neat because you really do just appreciate that. Like, I'm glad they're good people. We're all concerned about, being good people, and that's really important. And it also means you can kind of watch each other's back and look out for one another. And we feel like we have that support, which, again, I'd never been to Africa. So this was not just my first time in Africa. It was not my first time in Kenya. It was my first time in Kenya and Africa, and somewhat understanding a little bit of the way that the culture and how things are different in Kenya. And it's just, I couldn't be more excited about going and working with everybody.
Well, Chris, so tell me, so listen, I grew up in Africa, and I grew up in Kenya specifically, but
Yeah.
was there anything that surprised you, anything that stood out to you, because you've never been to Kenya, right? So what was that experience like for you?
That's a great question. So it's crazy because thinking like, where this location are we going to shoot? The things that were most impressed upon me was actually the people. And like, I knew it was going to be beautiful. You can't really plan for like a sunrise lion hanging out looking over at you. It's like
which we literally saw, guys.
Yeah, but when you see it, you're just like, oh, like, or monkeys run. We were having lunch and there's monkeys running around on the roof and then just jumping down, swinging like over the pool and stuff. And I'm like in Masai Mara, and I'm just looking around, going like, this is everyone else's act. This is normal. This is normal to
life.
them. And I'm like, this is not normal to me. This is pretty remarkable and pretty crazy. Oh, in Masai Mara, they dragged us to dance with them and treated us like brothers and family.
Yes.
It was that to me was a little bit of a surprise, not because I didn't think people would be welcoming, the level of like just embracing us and the project. And again, you spoke to it all day. There are just certain like this, like Lamu Island at nighttime with the moon on the water, like things the African skies. Like I just couldn't. I told you that more than once. I was like,
you look up, you can literally see the Milky Way. You're like, what?
Yeah,
I'm like,
look up at the sky right now. Just look up and see what it looks like. This is crazy. So yeah, really, really beautiful, and a place to shoot an epic story, no doubt.
And Chris, I'm glad you said that, because you helped me see things from a fresh perspective, because I did take a lot for granted. And you'd be like, Ade, stop. Look at what we're seeing. Look at the fact that you're here feeding giraffe. You're petting lions. And these things are going to be in the German King series. He was like, look at this and how amazing it is. And I was like, you're right. But to see things from your eyes, I mean, my goodness, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I mean, again, I felt the same way with the enthusiasm from Mark and some of the
Yes.
people we were working with.
It's
I'm
rough.
so excited. I think it's rare that people can actually match my enthusiasm when I'm ready to go. I'm
Yeah.
like pretty like you too. I think we're pretty hard to rival.
Right,
But
right,
then I see
right.
Mark and I'm like, this guy's
And
taking classes at
more
3 in the morning, working
yes,
full
yes.
time for us.
I
Like he
have
never
never
sleeps. He
seen a
never.
human being who Mark is my assistant. We'll get to him later on. And I handpicked him to be my assistant because I saw his work ethic a year and a half ago when I first started
Yeah.
location for the German King series. And he was the first person who was like, you know, and I was like, what do you guys need? And he said, we don't need anything from you. All we don't need money. That's not what we want. We want opportunity. And so we were doing this, it was a year and a half ago, and he was doing this little workshop in a slum for disadvantaged youth. And he was just saying, I just want to give people opportunities. And I was seeing all these incredibly talented people who were so hungry to work and who just wanted the opportunities. And so that's going to come, we're going to discuss that a little later on. But when I saw who Mark was, and just what he was doing to change his community, and he was, you know, using film and television and media just to raise awareness of things like, you know, childhood marriage, which, you know, we're in Kenya, people are fighting against, female genital mutilation, which is something that's a big problem in certain regions in Africa, you know, making statements about global warming and the climate crisis. And I've seen him just doing all these amazing works, and he sent them to me, and I was like, I sent them to Chris, and I quickly signed on to be an executive board member. And I called Chris. I was like, we need to help these guys out. I mean, they don't want
Yep.
money; they just want our time. So more on that in a little bit, but I'll let Chris talk about it. But
Nice teaser. I
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. Yeah. So, Ajay, why don't you? I think it's important actually because you have spent the most time on this part. So, in addition to Kenya, which was absolutely amazing, we obviously need to shoot locations for the European castles, all of the
Yes,
Europeans. This is very much, and not just an international, but this is a story about something that happened in the world, and it
yes.
affects everybody in the world, from Americans to Africans to, again, everybody. And so what's kind of remarkable is we found a really interesting place. So why don't you talk about that, Ade?
So one thing you have to know is you can't really tell Germans' history or Africa's history without, especially during that time, without talking about each other, right? And of course, we know that Rudolf Duell Mangabell spent many years in Germany, and he spent time in royal courts. And so now our job was to now find these royal courts in Germany. However, some of the locations in Germany didn't quite work for what we're trying to do because a lot has changed in 150 years. So we were like, what
Yeah.
looks identical to how it did 150 years ago with like the Baroque designs, the Gothic designs, you know, Gothic architecture, medieval architecture, and we found a lot of these locations in Latvia. And so we flew. I had no idea what to expect, but we met up with an amazing, amazing production company who just said, listen, this is our beautiful country and we have everything that you need. And so we spent about 7 days there and found some of the most beautiful palaces I've ever seen. I mean, they're also my houses. I don't know if you guys didn't know that. I own three or four of them. So if you guys want, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. If only soon. No, I'm kidding. No, but they was just so beautiful. And these are castles. Now, when you look at them, when you watch the TV, when you watch the German King, you will recognize a lot of these castles in some of these major Netflix TV shows and Amazon Prime shows. I mean, these are castles that have been used all over, and we
Yeah.
are going to be fortunate enough to use them in the German King series. So I'm so excited, ecstatic. We've got literally an amazing castles that kings and queens and dukes and duchesses resided in, places where people were, were coronated. We have places that, you know, literal royals were there, and I'm just so excited that we're going to film in these places. You're going to get to see these places, and these are also going to be the places that Rudolf Douala stayed as a kid. So you guys are going to see all of that. It's an absolute treat. One of my favorite places. I don't want to give too much away yet. I mean, these things we'll be revealing over the next few days and weeks, actually very soon, because there's a lot to talk about. But once again, if you guys want more information about the show, please sign up for our newsletters. Click on the QR code, and it'll take you directly to where you can actually sign up. There's so much we cannot wait to share with you. So much BTS, so much footage and videos and photos that we've taken, and you guys are in for a treat. So we are so excited to just start filming the German King series and share all of this amazing stuff with you guys.
Yeah, and to Ade's point, we are still going to shoot a few things in Germany.
We are,
We
yes.
obviously have to. It's about Germany. We're not going to,
Yes.
same thing with Cameroon. We're obviously going to shoot in Cameroon. But as Ade said, technology, in a lot of places in Germany, it's everywhere. So I think I just keep thinking of this as something that feels like a reality. Is we're discovering some of these places. They're not lost in time. They've actually been taken care of. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I feel like there is like they appear like they're lost in time or they just came out of the past, and you're like, how beautiful. But then you realize the care and the effort people have put into making sure
Yes.
that these things are going to be able to be seen for future generations and things like that. And so that's an amazing part of this, is going to some of this, seeing some of these locations, like you said, Ade, in Latvia and Estonia and different places that we're, looking at that are so perfect and going to help us build this world.
Yes.
But with that being said, Ade, right now, you're actually in Cameroon.
I'm
And
in
of course,
Cameroon.
yeah.
I'm in
So why don't you
Cameroon.
tell everybody why you're there?
So first of all, I absolutely love Cameroon. Cameroon, I feel like I'm one of you all, honestly and truly. I've had so much in Dole and Ekwang, and just spent time, of course, with the royal family, spent time at certain, art places, historical landmarks, historical monuments. It's been an absolutely amazing experience. But I specifically came for two reasons. The first reason was for the famous Ngondo Festival. Now, what the Ngondo Festival is when all the different Sawa and the different, well, Douala and Sawa people come together, and they have a festivities. It's dancing, celebration. There's a beauty pageant. There's an actual wrestling match, and then there's the famous canoe race that happens every year. And they go like for miles. And so you see these huge men who are like 6'4", 6'5", and they're just like walking with these giant paddles. And I'm like, first of all, I mean, what? Because they're so strong. And so we have to make sure we cast these characters properly. I mean, the Cameroonians will never forgive us. So I'm actually trying to see if I can get as many Cameroonians on board, because the way that they do the paddle, this is something that, the way they use the paddle, this is something I told His Majesty King Jean-Yves. He talked to me, he said, the paddle is not only something that we use for the boat, but we also use it as a weapon. And he showed me these really amazing kung fu like moves that I've never seen a 70-year-old man do, a 68-year-old man do. And it was just the most impressive thing. And I was like, in that moment, I realized this man might be older than me, but he could kick my behind. So that's also another reason why I need to get this story right and
Yeah.
have him
You don't
back.
want the king. You don't want the king to show up with the paddle. Like if
No, no, no,
you
no.
turn
I don't.
around.
I mean,
Don't
it
get
was
it wrong.
yes, yes. And so we're talking about the paddle to our the stunt team that we're probably going to work with, and they have all these amazing ideas. When I make it official, you'll know their names, you'll recognize their work. They've done all the big blockbusters that you guys know and love, and I just cannot wait to share that information with you when you sign up for your for the letters and the updates. And also, once again, click on the link below or just scan the QR code, and you'll get all these updates from us soon, and lots more to talk about. And so yes, I saw the Ngondo Festival. It was so the best way I can describe it is it was a spiritual experience in a way, because listen, I haven't lived in Africa for such a long time, but to see all these people so in touch with who they are, and as far as in the king, he basically explained to me, he said, we believe in just listening to the sounds of nature, listening to the trees, the wind, being at one with, just nature, and having that elevate our humanity. And it was such a beautiful thing, because how many times do we just sit and listen to nature? How many times do we just sit and meditate and have that sort of, just dictate how we want to be, and we are just, I love that. And so I remember, yesterday I was sitting and I was praying out on my porch, and it was just a beautiful time of prayer, reflection, and meditation, and just really trying to take what the king said to heart. And it was beautiful, because now in Africa, there's no, the sounds of traffic, you don't really have that. The chaos, as I said, like there's no smog, so you can actually see the skies, you can see the Milky Way. And it was just such a moment of me just being at peace and just celebrating being alive.
Yeah, I mean it. I mean, Ade, honestly, I wish I could be there with you. Some of the stuff that, I've seen a lot of the footage you sent.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
I was the first person you were sending it to,
I was
and
like,
it's
that's Chris.
amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
couldn't wait.
well, I
In
mean,
the middle
because
of the
we
night, I
are in the
apologize, Chris, but
throes.
I was like, this is amazing. Because mind you, I'm 9 hours ahead of Chris.
Yeah,
So I think you're probably sleeping.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
Well, we're in the throes of the
Yeah,
creative decisions for the we are there are people are going to see the festival
yeah,
in the German King series, and what's amazing is, and we're in the throes of making creative decisions for it,
yes,
and to see the real thing happening now,
yes.
is the thing that, I mean,
Yeah,
these
that's
are
the
the things
festival.
that as a filmmaker, that just really absolutely make the hair on your arm stand up to
Stand up.
attention and go
Yes,
that we
yes.
are this is bigger than just us wanting to shoot it and show the world. It's like this is a part of, like you said, it's a spiritual experience for them. It's extremely important,
Yes.
and to my knowledge, the world hasn't seen it
The world hasn't seen
represented
it.
this way. That
Yes.
we're doing it and that we're planning, and so that to me, and also one of the cool things you're also doing there, and we won't give anything away yet, is casting. And
Yes.
we don't have to get into crazy details, but I mean, I
Yeah.
know you're having some success, and we're pretty thrilled.
Well, so when I came here, they were like, "You don't you dare leave this country without casting." And I said, "Okay." And so they asked me to do.
Yeah,
But
you
it
didn't
made
really have a
perfect.
choice, but
I
yeah.
didn't have a choice in that matter. So, but I'm so glad I did because what I did was I said, and they wanted me to do the same thing we did in other places, which we'll get to later. And so I worked with University of Boya, University of Yaoundé, and I just had conversations with the Performing Arts Division and also their historians. I had a conversation with because a lot of the historians didn't know a lot about Rudolph Duell and Mangabell, and that was the most amazing thing. Having people come up to me after the workshops and say, I lived in this country my whole life and I didn't know who this man was. And so you're looking at them and you're like, if they didn't know, how is the rest of the world not going to know? But this was
Mhm.
such an important man, not just to Cameroonian history, but to African history, Pan African history, and world history. What
I was
Rudolph
like, yeah,
did,
European history, European
European,
history.
yes, European
I
history.
mean, the world. Yeah, it's like we can just keep going, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
and it is I mean, again, we talk about it all the time. There are hero stories, there are martyr stories, and then there are stories that kind of combine all of the most heroic and best parts of that we can hope to have as humans. And
Yes.
I think that with the flaws included, Rudolph is that. Like,
Yes,
we
with
get
it,
to
yes.
see someone rise above, circumstance, their own,
Yes.
interests, flaws, all this to this point, and that's for the whole world to see.
Yeah.
And I think that actually kind of takes us, Ade, because I think it's really important that one of the things that's amazing about what we're doing on this German King series, and everybody who's participated in the crowdfunding with us, this is all your
Thank you all so
claim
much.
to
Yeah.
fame as well. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
So we've done
Yeah.
some good things that are going to help us with shooting, but there's one involves an elephant and another one involves a
Yes.
workshop, and that's the stuff that we're like doing in Kenya. So Ade, I'm not gonna. You're the mastermind. So
Well, so
yeah.
three things. So yes, when we went to Kenya, we want to talk about the fact that poaching is at an all-time high, and this is really affecting a lot of animals. It's affecting elephants, it's affecting lions, it's affecting rhinos, and specifically those three are just being hunted almost to extinction. And so, and a lot of these creatures lived in Cameroon, and it was only sadly, the last 60, 70 years these animals were, especially the black rhino, was hunted to extinction. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to a little spoiler, but we're going to feature an amazing, beautiful black rhino. And if you actually go to our social media page, you'll see Baraka, who is the cutest, most amazing black rhino, and one of just very few surviving black rhinos. And we thought it was important to tell Baraka's story and feature Baraka, and hopefully raise awareness about poaching and hunting these animals unfairly for their horns or for the tusks or whatever, what have you. The other, this other surprise is we decided to adopt an elephant, a baby Talek. She was, I think, in Masai Mara, and she was orphaned. And so last year, the tour guides were driving. and they see this elephant just running after their car, which was so heartbreaking. And so they're like, something's wrong. And then they realized that she didn't have a parent. She was trying to hold on to this bull elephant, but the bull elephant was like, I don't know, I don't really know you. And they're like, okay, let's they're like, let's get into action. Let's save this I think at the time she was 4 months old, and a baby, you know. And so they literally saved this elephant's life and brought her back to the Japanese Sheldrake Wildlife Trust. And we have officially adopted Talik the elephant, and she's doing really well. I got an update today saying she's eating a lot, she's getting very big, and she's just a great little elephant. So over the course of the next few months, and you know, in the several newsletters that we're going to be sending out, you'll also get updates about our beautiful baby Talik.
Yeah, and what's what's amazing is we were like, oh cool, we would love to be able to film elephants, and now this is like a development, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's, I mean, and it's so amazing, and again, it's just one thing after the other, opportunity to do good, give back, also help the series.
Yes.
And it, to me, you know, any way we can create win-win scenarios for all people's involved, it's just like, let's do that. Let's do
Yes,
more of that.
absolutely. That's
Where
more of that.
including the animals benefit too. Let's
Well,
do that.
absolutely. And so we talked to so no, absolutely, and we talked to so many wildlife conservation people in Kenya, and they were just so thankful that this is something that we're also taking seriously. So, and the series is just going to educate people on so much. It's going to educate people about, you know, the horrors of poaching. It's going to educate people on what you can do to save animals' lives, and just raise awareness about all these really important issues and help save lives. And so we're so excited to be on the forefront of that, and we're excited that you guys are too.
Yeah, and to bring it back to just saving lives, making a change. Let's go back to Young Stars and Mark, because
Let's go back to Young Stars.
we got to kind of share. This is one of the most important things we did on our
Yes.
scout,
So
or while we were in Kenya.
well, we're in Kenya. So a year and a half ago, I did a little workshop. That was the first, and so it was in no, it was in Kawangware, which is one of the biggest slums in Kenya. And we just did a call out, and a lot of disadvantaged, homeless, street children, like people showed up en masse. They were like, "We want to learn," and I was like, "How is this going to work?" You know, I'm like, "Do they?" And they were just a lot of them. Interesting enough, we weren't even starting from scratch. They were like, no, some of them had books that they got secondhand. Those with cell phones, they were sharing cell phones to just learn things and download, books from online. And so I was like, oh, so you're serious about this? And they're like, yes, we're serious. And all these other Hollywood productions have said that we're going to come down and do stuff and help you, or help us, but they always leave. And they're like, before they do any workshops, they leave and they don't do anything to help us. They don't do anything to help us become better filmmakers. We just want that opportunity. And so later on, so Mark Isaiah, who is my assistant, who I've known for many, many years, and he's been very, very hungry to be a filmmaker. I said, let's help you. How can I do this? And so a year and a half ago, I signed on to be an executive board member because I felt it was important to give these people an opportunity and a similar opportunity to what I had. I went to a very prestigious English school, and we had all of these things in place. We had drama training, we had mentors, we had all these things. And for me, it was about a matter of giving back. And so we helped start up Young Stars, and Mark Isaiah and Oprah. She is a phenomenal person who works with Young Stars. Also, who am I missing? I'm missing Chris. Who am I missing? Missing some names.
Zara.
Cynthia's wonderful. Zara, amazing. And so I got to meet up with them, and I got to see how efficient they were with everything that they were doing. And they were like, "This is our school. This is what we're doing. And do you want to come on board?" And I said, "Absolutely. If I can help you guys be the best filmmakers that you can be, if I can help you tell stories that will affect change tomorrow, that will basically make other people, another generation say, my goodness, I want to be like you. I want to be the next great filmmaker," then I said, I'll be behind it 110% of the way. Now, fast forward a year and a half, and then German King series started happening, and I said, I think it's important for my cast, my crew, to give back in some way. And so we decided to do a workshop and teach these kids. And we basically thought it was just going to be a few of them. And what ended up happening was several hundred people showed up to this workshop, and it was amazing. But what I loved was it was hundreds of hungry people who just wanted to learn. And so it was myself, Chris Freeman, Keith Compton, and we taught them everything from voice and speech, directing, acting, filmmaking, producing. And it was the first session was only supposed to be a couple of hours. It ran long. And we ran to, I think, 5 hours. We came back the next day, continued the workshop, and it ran for another 5 or 6 hours. And
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
very tired.
We had like meetings and some things in the afternoon, and we were just looking like they're not happening.
Yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah,
staying
yeah,
here at the workshop. Yeah, we're gonna
so
keep going. It
yeah,
was great.
it was
And you know, and also there were some really amazing leaders. Like I got to know Rich. There were a few people, folks that I met that I'm like, these are some like there are amazing professionals already working in the film and already doing what we're doing. They're doing it there in a different way, and and it was great to meet them as well because we could see the support and just like the heart that people have for helping
yes.
and to raise up that film community.
Absolutely. And so that's exactly what's happening right now. And so after I did one of my workshops here in Cameroon, one in Yaoundé, one in Buea, one of the things I did teach was audition technique. And after that, I had some of them actually audition for me. And the talent is amazing, is absolutely amazing. And so potentially some of these people may end up being in the series, but it's I don't want to sort of it's caught before the horse right now because we're about to announce very shortly one of our casting directors who will be working on the series. And so that is something you all will find out about. So you actors who want to be involved in our show, you actors who want to play kings and queens from Africa, who want to play, these dignified, heroic characters, now's your time. Now's your chance. And we cannot wait. It's probably going to be very soon. I can't tell exactly when, but before we might do another live stream, we'll talk about it in the newsletter that we're going to send out. And once again, yes, please click on the link below if you want to sign up for the newsletter, or just scan the QR code and you'll be automatically signed up and you get updates from us concerning the German King. But yeah,
Yeah, and the
soon.
blog and the blog that Angel did, about
Yes,
which just came out about the workshops and young
yeah.
stars, and which was awesome. And there's also I noticed it's almost all quotes from Ade, no quotes from me. I was like, I
That's
thought
not
there was
true.
one quote. I'm like, I thought maybe I said something. No, it's just hysterical. No, and I love it. And what's amazing about it is actually we were missing quotes from Mark in that. We needed a quote from
We
Mark
needed more
in
quotes from
that
Mark.
story. Yeah, in that
Marcus
blog.
I, you'll be the next one, I promise. Yes, yes.
That's right.
Marcus I is a
Yeah.
genius, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he is a phenomenal human being, teaches me to be a better person. Just the things he
He
does are
does
so
teach you
self.
to be a better
He
person.
does. He
He
really
does
does in
teach
every
you to be
sense
a
of the
better.
word. Yeah.
He teaches
I'm like,
me. Remember when he was like, "Oh," he gave me some wise parable when I did,
yes.
something happened in Kenya, and he was like, "My friend." Then he gave me some. I can't even remember, but at the time I was like, "Wow, that's pretty enlightening."
Yes. Yes.
But he's awesome.
He's
They're all
awesome.
awesome. This group, and this is why we want to support them. We want to
Yes.
do everything we can. To give them the opportunities, get resources for them and we want to bring them into, as much as we can into German King and also have them grow their talent so that as we move into subsequent seasons, we're literally sticking with the same people and they're all great and growing.
Yes.
So, yeah. So anyway, that we should, but it's, oh my gosh, it's been an amazing experience. And we're certainly grateful to everybody that
Yes.
has participated with us and is on this journey with us. We're off, but hopefully have a wonderful Christmas with your families.
Yes.
Just know, we'll be working while that's happening.
Yes,
And
we're
that's the
working
big
over
thing. We're
Christmas,
thrilled about it.
but
Yeah.
because we're going to give you guys something that will just be absolutely amazing, and because those of you who are going to come join us on set, because I know some of you signed up to be extras and things like that, we cannot wait to see you. We cannot wait to welcome you to Kenya. Kenya will be so welcoming to you. This, I promise you, will be a life-changing experience.